Welcome to the Maritime Executives podcast series, In the Know. I'm Tony Munoz, Editor-in-Chief. Our Executive Corner podcast will provide conversations with top executives concerning events and issues that are shaping our industry today. We will also bring you up to speed with the latest news and editorials covered by the Maritime Executive.
Welcome to the Maritime Executive Magazine podcast series, In the Know. I'm Paul Benecki. Today, I'm joined by Captain Rajiv Singhal, the Managing Director of MTM Ship Management, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the ship management industry today and the changes that he's seeing in the market. Captain Singhal, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Paul. Thank you very much for having me in, and I look forward to an interesting discussion with you in the next half an hour.
All right. Well, just so our readers have some background, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to MTM?
You see, I started my career in 1983, and what brought me to the marine industry was the environment around the place where I lived. I had very close friends who had joined the marine industry in the early 80s. So naturally, I had to flow with the tide, and in 1983, I joined the shipping industry. I sailed for about 16 years, came ashore in 1999, worked for 12 years ashore in a very big ship management company in India. And in 2011, I migrated to Singapore and started working for MTM Ship Management in Singapore.
Thanks for the background. So can you tell us what sets MTM apart from other ship management companies?
You see, every ship management company is as good as the people they employ at sea as well as ashore. And what I would say is that how we are different from other ship managers is that we are owners and managers. So we do not have the third party approach to ship management. We run the ships as though we would run our own ships, whether they belong to MTM or non-MTM. And that is the differentiation between MTM ship management and other ship managers. We manage ships with an owner's perspective. Secondly, we maintain very high standards of trust and transparency through our systems and processes. Owners participate in our negotiated supply chain arrangements and benefit from volume discounts, so budget control is important. And the most important is that we manage the business through dedicated, empowered professionals, whether it is ashore or at sea, to manage the assets under our care. And we also look after the so-called customer's customer, the charterers who are hiring our owners' ships. The technical, marine and crewing work in hand-to-hand in daily operational meetings, and these meetings are attended by all senior managers, including myself. We try to have innovation as a continuous process in MTM to stay ahead of the curve and allow our owners not only to sustain the business in the present environment, but also to help them grow and meet the future regulations and stay ahead of the curve. So these are a few things that differentiates MTM from other ship management companies.
I know too that you maintain a very high crew retention rate. Can you tell us a little bit about how that is and what sets you apart in terms of keeping your crew happy?
See, retention rate is very important. In any ship management company, recruitment, development, and retention go hand in hand. You grow the pool of officers through your cadetship program. The people you recruit are good quality recruits with high professionalism. They see a career growth in MTM and they stay in MTM. But what keeps our retention rate high at all times is that first and foremost is the remuneration, which is in line with market standards. We believe a lot in training our people, which makes them more satisfied, professionally ready to go on the ships that they are going to be posted on. We care for our crew. We don't just believe in lip service, calling them frontline workers and so on. We were one of the first companies to put COVID or protective gear on board and convert the hospitals on the ships into COVID hospitals by supplying oxygen concentrators and then the other equipment, medication for COVID for all 23 crew. We gave them 24/7 medical support and mental support in the times of crisis. We made sure our seafarers were relieved on time by diverting ships to mother countries and in ports where crew changes were allowed. We supported the finance, equipment, and medicines in countries like Yangon, when they were having a problem of not only COVID, but the military regime. We vaccinated our seafarers in every ports of call where it was allowed. We also helped people getting vaccinated in countries from where our seafarers were on leave and their families. A lot of vaccination programs were financed by MTM. Then good quality and nutritious food on the table by professional teams, so captain doesn't have to bother about the provisions and concentrate more on his work. MTM branded linen, crockery, and uniforms in addition to boiler suits that make seafarers pride of working with MTM and connected with MTM. Soft skills by sending cards and greetings and arranging occasional gifts and parties for the families to make them connected to MTM. I would say all this makes MTM, whatever I have told you.
Great. And it sounds like you've really gone above and beyond, and especially with making sure that everybody stays healthy and happy during the pandemic. I know
That's
that
very important. That's very important. Very, very important.
important. Yeah.
I think that COVID has taught us that there will be challenges. There will be challenges which we have never even thought about. And it has taught us to be prepared for any eventuality to run the ship's business well around the world. And what I learned from COVID is, that yes, digitization is important because the digital platform had to be enhanced to keep the crew training going on and conduct meetings via meetings like this, what we are having now using Microsoft Teams and Zoom. And I also learned to communicate like this with our masters and chief engineers. I didn't have to go on the ships to actually talk to every crew member sitting in my own office. And I would have never learned this without COVID. But now I do one ship at a day or at least one ship in 2 days. And I meet all my seafarers off a ship like how I'm talking to you. So I'm investing in time in connecting the seafarers to the office of the managing director in MTM, which is giving very good results, I must say.
And so I wanted to ask you a little bit about what you're seeing today in terms of crew challenges and crew change challenges in particular. The COVID crisis has changed quite a lot. It's receded in many places. It's still a challenge in some places. What are you seeing in terms of crew change and COVID challenges for crew?
See, these challenges were felt maximum in 2021 or 2020. In 2021, we had got used to these challenges. In 2022, there are limited challenges. Challenges have been there in crew changes ever since the pandemic hit the planet Earth. There have been challenges. But in MTM, what we did, we had COVID meetings. The first thing in the morning was a COVID meeting with crewing, technical, and marine, and it was attended by myself as managing director with all our field offices. And the purpose of this meeting was to make sure our people were relieved on time, vaccinated in ports of call, and they were continuously getting the stores and spares supplied to run the ship efficiently. So what differentiates a good manager from an average manager is how well he charts out the path in times of crisis and navigates the business with excellence when there are challenges. So we have managed to keep our crew happy and the families happy even during the COVID days.
Are you seeing that play out in terms of how your crew think about MTM and whether they want to stay with MTM? It sounds like this probably creates a lot of loyalty, right? That they know that you had their back when they really needed it.
Yes, obviously, it is not only the times of COVID. There have been series of challenges which we faced. When Russia invaded Ukraine, we had a ship that was, or it is still in Ukraine. It is still in the port of Nikolaev. And we did not hesitate to hire professionals that could evacuate our crew and bring them to safety through the war zone and get them home in the Philippines. And what the crew has to say about the MTM support, there are videos on YouTube, the crew has put it themselves. And those videos speak volumes about the relationship which MTM has with its crew.
And I'm sure all of these things, they come at some amount of financial costs and some amount of management time. And it sounds like over the years, you have found that is very much worth the investment.
You see, of course, it came with a lot of finance, it came with a lot of investment of time. But to keep the crew happy and to keep the crew safe and run the ships efficiently. There was no other way. Money had to be spent wisely. Strategies had to be made to fight the challenges and keep the supply chain running so that the world does not suffer and our ships don't suffer, our owners don't suffer, our seafarers don't suffer. So we had to do this.
It sounds like you took a very responsible approach to it. I also wanted to talk about another challenge that has persisted from the pandemic, the supply chain challenge. And we've heard how this has affected operators of every stripe, ship managers, ship owners, shipyards. What is it like for you now, securing parts and supplies and getting them delivered to the right place at the right time?
Yes, we did have a challenge. There were problems in supplying good quality provisions to the crew because it was not available in some parts of the world. Then there were challenges in supplying them the normal stores and spares because they could not be transported from the place where they were available to the ports of call where the ship was calling. So advanced planning was required by the supply chain cell and the technical management to make sure that the supplies are arranged and they are delivered in convenient ports of call. Or at times we had to speak to our owners and charterers to divert ships in places where the supply chain arrangements could be made. So yes, it was a challenge, and the biggest challenge was the dry docking, like you rightly said. Our superintendents could not attend the dry dockings, whether they were dockings in Turkey or China or even in Singapore and Thailand, Indonesia. Our superintendents could not travel, and we had to depend on professionalism of third-party locally available inspectors to do the dry docking of the ships. But yes, we managed to conduct the operations through strategies, through processes, through means, but it was not the same. I mean, the physical contact between the seafarers and the company was missing. And I think it will slowly come back.
I think we're all looking forward to that for sure.
Correct.
So periodically, the shipping industry hears about maybe an upcoming shortage of seafarers, and this concern has resurfaced many times over the decades. But we're hearing about it, especially now after the pandemic, that maybe more crew members are thinking of retiring, or that it's more challenging to attract young people to the industry. Are you seeing any signs of that kind of a trend?
You see, shortage of professional seafarers has been there for the last 2 decades at least. And to say that pandemic has affected this, yes, to some extent, but not much. What has affected shortage is that people around the world do not find shipping as an attractive career anymore. And the reason is social isolation, monotonous life, facing tough regulations in the ports of call, piracy, rough seas, negative publicity, criminalization, and things like this. And because of social media, the youth around the world gets to know all these things, but they do not get to know the good side about the merchant navy and the sea career, how noble this profession is, and how important this profession is, and how good this career is. So that is why there is a lack of youth wanting to join the shipping world today as compared to what it was about 10 years or 20 years before.
That sounds like a very challenging situation to fix, right? That it's not just a problem within the industry, that it's a problem in how society views the industry and how society treats seafarers. This sounds like it is a much more challenging set of problems to address.
Yes, I fully agree. I fully agree. But I'm sure everybody connected with shipping is trying to show the good sides of the sea career. And there are many good sides of shipping career for people who want to come to sea. So the idea is to project the good image of shipping career and not just a negative publicity available on the social media.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have to spread that message. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you'd really like to highlight? Specific aspects of your fleet, your operations, things that set MTM apart?
Yes, I can say that MTM ship management is managing 70 plus ships under full management, 50 odd from Singapore and balance from India. We have 2 ship management offices, and our manning offices, that manning and training centers that are owned by MTM are in Yangon, Manila, Mumbai, and Delhi. We also have some exclusive partnerships with people in Europe who are supplying seafarers. So we have a fairly diverse, geographically located manning and training centers to give us the skilled seafarers required to run our ships. We have 2 ship management offices. We have representatives of ship management in Europe and US to provide the support. And with all this in place, our plan is to grow ship management from 70 ships to perhaps 100 ships in the next 2 years.
Great, great. Well, I look forward to seeing that unfold and talking with you some more. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yes, Paul. So I look forward to another interview in where 2023 now. We had one in 2021. It's 2022. So I get to see you in 2023 now.
Looking forward to it.
Same here. Look forward to it, Paul. Anytime.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to In the Know, the Maritime Executive Podcast. We hope you'll join us again for our next exciting industry discussion. In the meantime, you can visit us at maritime-executive.com for top news on critical maritime issues.